I wish I started posting on YouTube so much earlier. For the longest time, growing up, my mom told me to watch what I put on the internet, that I wouldn't be able to get a job or nobody would want to hire me if I posted the wrong things on the internet. And so I was so tiptoey about what I posted. This is also coming from someone who didn't know that when I was in high school, someone had shared an intimate video without my consent. So I had people low key like forming these opinions of me that I didn't even know for the longest time. And it impacted me so hard. And I think that's why I was so scared of posting things on the internet for the longest time. I was just scared to be perceived in certain ways. In my experience, I've wanted to control the way that people have perceived me. I think we're taught that it's our responsibility to do that. And so when you go out in the world and you have an experience where you can't control how somebody sees you and it kind of eats away at your autonomy, you start to think it's your fault. And so you stop showing up in the way that feels authentic to you because you feel like that might cause you danger. But that is such a untrue point. That is so untrue because people are going to perceive you how they want to perceive you anyway. It doesn't matter what you do. That is not your fault at all. It is never your fault. And anybody that tells you it is your fault is wrong. I never I didn't tell a lot of people the things that had happened to me in the past because I was so ashamed of it and I carried this shame and this guilt around with me for up until now, honestly, up until the past year. When I first started posting, I have other social media, I have personal social media, whatever, but I created and curated such a refined version of me that like really is not super authentic to myself. And I really bit my tongue and held back on showing my true self because I didn't want to be perceived by certain people or be perceived in a certain way. And I have reached a point where 2 years ago, I was so unhappy in the corporate world and I was working a consulting job and decided to quit because I wanted to be a more creative person. I wanted to pursue my creative career. I wanted to really understand who I was outside of that world. And so I just took the leap. I didn't know what I was doing. I saved up a lot of money to be able to like have just the time to explore myself and without being on somebody else's dime, you know, understand what I would do if it weren't for money because I never had that opportunity in my life. And I just said, fuck it. And I went and I traveled and I learned a ton of things. I started playing guitar. I learned Spanish. Like I I did everything possible. And I wish I had recorded a lot of that or shown my journey through a lot of that, but I didn't because I was so scared of being perceived while I was still learning, while I was making mistakes, while I was failing. And I'm realizing now that like that doesn't matter. And actually being able to post and share my thoughts and feelings and share my journey more than anything has just been a beautiful mirror back to myself and has literally allowed me to like make quantum leaps in my growth and development because I am forced to see everything. I'm forced to look at every single part of me and articulate my thoughts in a way that I haven't before, so raw and unfiltered. Because even when I'm talking to friends, even if they're really good friends, there's like some lens, there's some I guess filter that I filter out just because it's a two-way conversation, right? So I don't want to just like yab their ear off. But here, this is a realm that I'm building. This is a world that I'm building where like if you don't like this video, you can click off and I get to share this world with people who want to be in it and feel like they get something out of being in it. And even if that's just me at the moment, that's totally cool because I get so much out of just articulating how I'm feeling, having that mirror held up to me, and then really seeing the spots where I'm vulnerable, the spots that I can use improvement on, and knowing that because I have a goal, I see where the misalignment is, and I know exactly where I can make changes in my life. And I've dedicated the past few weeks to like consistently posting every single day. I'm uploading something. And that's even quantum leap me further, because before I thought I had to like script certain things. I had to research so much before I could come up with an idea, but then I realized that I've had 27 years of life experience and read so many books. Like basically I have a big ass bookshelf. Oh, there we go. I have a big ass bookshelf behind me, and then I have another one next to that. I read a lot and I consume a lot. And I like to learn a lot, but I realize that the most learning that you actually do is when you're in the action, when you're applying the information. Because when it's just up here, it's not really wisdom. It's not really, you can't teach it back to other people. You can't show people how to do this, this, and that. You just regurgitate information. And especially now that we have AI, information is so abundant. It's not really valuable to a lot of people unless you put it within a context. And a lot of the times when it comes to things like this, the context is your own perspective, right? Because there are a lot of people out there that have similar perspectives to you, or they're in a similar place to you, and maybe you're 1 or 2 steps ahead of them, and they are trying to figure out what the next step is. And it's really, really useful for them to see you doing what you're doing, because they can take that context and apply it to their own context so much easier than if it were just, in a book in a library or on ChatGPT. ChatGPT has no context, and even they say they do, it does, like, it doesn't, information doesn't matter unless you have context within. You didn't just fall out of a coconut tree. Why do you think that meme went so viral? And I'm realizing now that as I'm growing, the more I show up, the more I grow. And I'm still so early in my journey. Like, I have less than 100 subscribers. That shit doesn't matter, because it's just really allowed me to become accountable for myself. It's like allowed me to take action. It showed me where I need to take action. I made a video before saying like words aren't enough, because they're really not. Words are like the first step of bringing a thought form into the physical world. Whether you like to use the term manifestation or not, it's maybe the act of creation is better. It's like the blueprint or foundation for which you're laying everything else on. So it's like your first step of materializing the thought is putting it into words, but words are not enough. You have to feel the emotions, you have to act the actions, and you have to stay consistent with the behavior that aligns with what you're trying to bring into the world for long enough until it actually materializes. You have to have faith, you have to have trust, you have to have those emotions backed up behind your behaviors. And man, I think there's so many other people out there who are so intelligent and have so many ideas and are so competent, but there's this fear holding them back from allowing themselves to share it with the world. And I know this because I'm seeing people that are blowing up, getting super successful. They're no different than you. The only difference is they just decided to allow themselves to put themselves out there. And I will tell you that a lot of the times, the fears that you have will come true. I've experienced some really bad things, but I also was able to just move on from them and kind of like alchemize those lessons. And, every bad thing that I've experienced 100 good things after that to make up for that bad thing. I don't want to sugarcoat things and say that your fears aren't going to come true. They might. But it's also like you can't focus on that. You can't let that drive you. You can't let it take the driver's seat. But also know that your biggest dreams are going to come true on the other side. You can't have light without a shadow, right? So naturally, when you step into the light, you're going to see a shadow. And you can cower back and, step out of the light again, and you're fine and dandy, but the magic happens and the living happens when you allow yourself into the light. If you just take a second to, write down what could go wrong, and actually just imagine yourself going through that, like the worst case scenario. Once you imagine yourself going through that, you feel all the emotions, you experience all the emotions, instead of ruminating on it, like, okay, what would I do after that? How would I bounce back from that? Boom. And you show yourself that you're capable of coming back from something that difficult too, then you're set. You're good. You're able to experience the worst. And the thing is, once you allow yourself to do that, you let go of that fear. And then so now you can actually go and you can live the experience and experience it presently. And guess what? It's probably going to be way better than you could ever imagine. It's probably going to be amazing. The mind can only do so much, and the mind really just reacts on past patterns. The mind can only create from the past, but when you really allow yourself to transcend the mind, step into the soul, and allow yourself to create in the present moment, co-create with a force that's greater than you, the universe, the infinite field of knowledge, the infinite field of intelligence and wisdom, that's when you can create something so beautiful that even your mind could not fathom or comprehend or create that from the state that you're in right now. But you're not going to be able to do that until you let go and let yourself jump into that. At the beginning of this year, I was struggling. I felt like I was just drowning underwater, like paddling nowhere, because I was still stuck in that old mindset, and there was no material reality to really, I guess, show to me or validate me that the decision I made was right. But now I'm starting to just feel the difference. When I made the decision, girl, you're not going back to the 9 to 5. You're going to stay doing this because this is your dream. And this will allow you to expand on your dreams. You want to create music, you want to create art, you want to build community. This is the way you do it. You're not going to do it out of something you're not going to create something new out of just repeating cycles from the past. I'm not looking for a sugar mommy because I found her. I'm my own sugar mommy now. But for those of you who are thinking about starting something new or wanting to start something new, literally just, if you don't know where to start, writing journals. Like, I've been journaling since high school, but I've been journaling consistently pretty much every day. 5 years of journals. If there's a day where I don't have a topic to speak about or I just want to elaborate on something, I just go read back on an old journal and let something hit me and be like, yo, I wish I could tell this to past version of Kara. That's it. It's that simple. It's cool talking to previous versions of yourself, because I remember when I was actually in those present moments, it was like I felt this guiding voice telling me which direction to move in, to follow how I felt instead of following what was rational. And so in those moments, I made decisions that didn't make sense to the people around me, but I just felt it viscerally in myself. And months later, I came to find out that I was right about the decisions I made, and I was right about following my intuition. So it's a cool little practice. It's future me editing this right now. I realized that I didn't really film an outro. So anyway, if any of those practices helped you, I am actually hosting a fear alchemy workshop in 2 weeks. And what we're going to do is we're just going to tackle literally everything that's holding you back from going after what you want. I do have the link in the bio if you want information. And then also in the link in the bio is free resources that have to do with fear alchemy. So if you just want to tackle them on your own or face those things before the workshop, feel free to check them out and download them for free in the bio. Anyway, till next time, I'll see y'all.